All right.
Excuse me. Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to my first ever YouTube video. This is a place where I'll mainly talk about books and my opinions about those books. I'm really trying to better my critical thinking and the way I vocalize my opinions because I feel like I have strong opinions. But as soon as someone asks me, what did you think about this thing? All thoughts just go away from my mind. So I'm trying to be better at actually vocalizing my thoughts and opinions. So I thought this YouTube channel would help me. I have some reading vlogs planned for later in the year, and yeah, the rest will be mainly monthly reading wrap ups and some reviews. So, a little bit about me, I guess, would be a nice starting point. My name is Marley. I do live in Portugal, so that should explain the accent. I mostly read fantasy and a bit of romance, and I'm also trying to get into horror. So, those are the expectations. I've been a reader since I was around 9 years old, and that's still my whole personality after 16 years. So I thought at the big old age of 25 to make my opinions everyone else's problem. So on today's menu, I thought I would bring you the Marley reading list. These are the 7 books that have shaped me and that I basically built my whole personality around. So yeah, this does feel like a peek into my soul. So I hope you'll be nice about it. But yeah, I'm gonna start with 3 honorable mentions. And these are books that have definitely shaped me, but maybe don't hold up as well nowadays, and that maybe I wouldn't like as much if I read them today. The first honorable mention has to go to Ulysses Moore by Pier Domenico Bacalario. I love saying that man's name. It is one of the little joys I have left in life. This is a 16 book series, I want to say, and these books started it all. These books are the culprits, if you will. Before I became a reader, I was very critical of reading as a whole. My sister was a reader, and I used to make fun of her. But after getting hooked on this series, I became a reader myself. So, yeah, and I'm a writer now as well. So, joke's on me, I guess. For those who don't know, this follows 2 twins, Jason and Julia Covenant, and their parents have moved from London to a little town in Cornwall named Kilmore Cove. They bought a house at the edge of a cliff, which a smart decision in my opinion. Nothing could go wrong there. The house is called Villa Argo. There's a live-in gardener there who is peculiar, let's say, and Julia and Jason, but especially Jason, want to find out all the mysteries this new house holds. They find a burnt up, scratched up, all kinds of messed with door that they cannot open, but obviously someone has tried to before, so the mystery goes from there. This is middle grade and this is portal fantasy and time travel, kind of. These characters feel like old friends to me. Is this the peak of literature? Absolutely not. But I remember having such a good time. I remember me and my sister would read them at the same time. Basically, we were reading the series at the same time, and sometimes we would meet in the same book. So we each had a bookmarked place. We sometimes would knock on the other's door, like, "Are you finished reading? I want to read now. Give me the book." So, yeah, good memories all around. The characters are definitely the highlight, and the humor in this also amazing. Highly recommend if you have a younger person in your life that wants to become a reader or you're trying to get into reading. Highly recommend. Now, the second honorable mention is Paragon by Christopher Paolini. This series is beloved for a reason. It is the typical underdog turned hero story, and it has dragons, it has magic, it has a fantastical world, you know. As a fantasy knower and a fantasy lover now, I don't think I would like this as much. if I read it today. If you don't know, which I doubt you don't, but if you don't know, Aragon is not the dragon, first of all. Aragon is a farm boy and he doesn't have that much money. And one day he finds what he assumes to be a shiny blue rock, and his entrepreneurial mind is like, I'll just sell it and take care of my family and we'll be good. All will be fine. But turns out it is not a shiny blue rock. It is, in fact, a dragon egg about to hatch. He becomes a dragon rider and he's thrown into this world where there's dragons and there's magic and wars and all kinds of fantasy goodness. I remember absolutely loving this when I was around 14, I want to say. Is this the most fleshed out world, fleshed out characters? No, I wouldn't I wouldn't go into it expecting that, but it's a great time for a teenager. This was my very first exposure to fantasy and I'll always be grateful to it for it because fantasy is my favorite genre now. Paragon by Christopher Paolini. So the third and final honorable mention has to go to the Books of Beginning series by John Stevens. This is the first book, The Emerald Atlas. This series has changed me as a person. Oh my god, especially the second book, The Fire Chronicle. This book destroyed me. I was like 12 when I first read it, 12, 13. Changed me, absolutely changed me. But yeah, going back to the first book. This follows three siblings, Kate, Michael, and Emma, and they have been jumping from orphanage to orphanage since their parents vanished one night, and now they are transferred to Cambridge Falls, a new orphanage, and the headmaster there is a mysterious man who seems to know more about their lives than he should. And one day they find an empty ancient scroll, kind of, and a prophecy set into motion. And now they must set out to uncover all this town's secrets that turns out are related to their parents. Also, a magical world with powers and magical creatures, all that good stuff. This first book, I remember being intrigued by and actually liking, but the second book, when I tell you I still think about this book after over a decade, obviously I can't tell you what happens in this book because it's a major spoiler, but this mainly follows the eldest sibling, Kate, and I was so mad when I finished this book, but I was also impressed. My little wider brain started moving and it was a very fun read. So yeah, this series, especially the second book, has definitely impacted me as a reader. I still think about this book today. So yeah, in a list of books that have shaped me as a reader, this had to be at least an honorable mention. The Books of Beginning series, especially The Fire Chronicle by John Stevens. So now on to the 7 books that I think still hold up pretty well and have absolutely changed my life. These are not in any particular order. I think only the top 3 are like actual top 3. Anything below that can be kind of shifted around. Let's get into it. Now, at number 7, I had to include my love, my baby, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I think the main word I associate with this book is beautiful. This book is beautiful. The writing is beautiful. The love story is beautiful. I want like 80% of the quotes framed on my walls. That being said, I do have my qualms with the liberties taken regarding this myth of Achilles, but if I set my mythology history aside, this is close to perfection for me. I remember sobbing my eyes out at like 3 a.m. reading this book and then finishing it and going right back to the beginning. Yeah, I was pretty obsessed with this book. I still am. So, for those who don't know, this follows Patroclus actually, and he's an exiled prince who is raised alongside Achilles by the centaur Chiron, and they develop what historians would call a great friendship. This is a Trojan War retelling, so they soon find out that Helen of Troy has been abducted, and every soldier, every man has been summoned to fight in this, which Achilles is more than happy to oblige, but Patroclus is kind of hesitant. So there's a little tension there. It's about conflict, it's about love, it's about war. It's really, really beautiful. I love this story. I love the writing in it. I love the characters in it. If you are very knowledgeable about Greek mythology, maybe try to ignore that. But if you don't know that much about Greek mythology and you just want to read a gorgeous book about gorgeous people, this has to be added to your TBR. This is definitely in my Hall of Fame. I think about this book at least weekly. So yeah, the first official book in the Marley reading list is The Song of Achilles. Now, at number 6, we have the only classic I have ever given more than 4 stars. I love this book. It's part of my personality, as all of these books are, but this has a very special place in my heart, and that is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I have read the Portuguese version, this one, and I have read the English version as well. I love the writing. I love the atmosphere of it. I think it was one of the first haunting, gothic leaning books I had ever read at the time. So, yeah, it impacted me deeply. This one, I think everyone knows about, but this follows Dorian Gray, and he is a kind of conceited, arrogant man who commissions a portrait to be made of him. As time goes by and he starts acting less than nicely, his bad actions start reflecting on the portrait and not on him. And the story goes from there, from what he decides to do with that information. This is one of the only classics that I really, really recommend to people. I think everyone should read this book. It's a classic for a reason, especially now with the rise in censorship again, and with the adaptation wanting to make Dorian and Sybil brothers, which makes absolutely no sense. And Oscar Wilde must be rolling in his grave right now. I hate that decision, by the way. It's disgusting what they're trying to do. But this book, read it please. I absolutely love it. This is still my favorite classic of all time. I am reading Fahrenheit 451 right now, and it is promising. So fingers crossed there's another classic added to the list, but this remains first place. Now, at number 5, we have the only books I don't have physically, but I will remedy that soon, hopefully. And that is An Ember in the Ashes series by Sabata here. This series, I finished it last year, and it is the best fantasy series I have ever read. I feel pretty confident in saying that. It has such good world building. If you want great characters, if you want a masterfully crafted villain, an immersive, deep, rich world, if you want great magic systems, if you want to be emotionally destroyed too, this is the series. An Ember in the Ashes is dual perspective. On one side, we have Laia, who lives with her grandparents and her brother. This world lives under martial empire, where every little rebellion can be met with death. So when Laia's brother is charged with treason and sent to prison, Laia decides to team up with rebels. In exchange, they want her to act as a spy, infiltrate the Marshall Military Academy in order for them to help her free her brother. On the other side, we have Elias, or Elias, I'm not sure. He is the top student at said military academy. He is also the least willing to succeed, and he is actually already planning his escape because he is tired of what they're trained to enforce on their people, and he wants out. He wants to escape this world and live a calm, peaceful life. This wouldn't be dual perspective if their paths didn't cross, and a lot of things start happening when they do. This series has the best characters, has the best character arcs I've ever seen. It has such amazing villains, complex villains that you love to hate. This really sparked my love of fantasy like back to life. So if you're a fantasy lover and you haven't read this yet, please do. You will not be disappointed. It has such great conversations around questions of war and morality, and read it if you haven't already. I highly, highly recommend it. If you want to know my reading tastes, this is definitely high up there. Now, at number 4, just one step away from the podium, we have The Man, the Myth, the Legend, The Hunger Games by Susan Collins. This has to be in here. These books revolutionized me. And just as a side note, if you've read these books, if you love these books, and you decide to side with the oppressor and judge the oppressed for how they fight back when it comes to real life, then you read different books than I did, and I don't want anything to do with you. Please go away. This is not the space for you. It is scary, maybe not scary, maybe frustrating how relevant to today's world these books still are, especially in the US, but everywhere, really, unfortunately. For people who haven't read this, The Hunger Games follows Katniss Everdeen in a dystopian future where society has been split into, on one side, 12 districts, and the other side, the capital. And the capital are the people who make the rules, mostly rich, extravagant people who either don't care or are blissfully unaware of the district's famine and poverty issues. And Katniss lives on District 12. And every year, the districts are forced to give up one girl and one boy to fight to the death in this arena because years ago the districts rebelled against the capital and lost. So, as a punishment, the Hunger Games were created to make the districts fall in line and suffer the consequences for the uprising that they organized years ago. This year, Katniss's younger sister Primrose is selected to fight to the death in the Hunger Games. So Katniss volunteers as tribute. So now she must find a way to kill or outsmart 23 other children, including the boy who was picked in her district, Peter Malark, who years ago saved her life. This trilogy has such a special place in my heart. I think a lot of people share my opinions on it and love it as much as I do. It holds so many of my beliefs and talks about so many issues that are still relevant today. The characters, the plot, the world, everything. And honestly, all books in this universe are top tier when it comes to commentary and parallels to today's world. I think Suzanne Collins does a great job commenting on the issues of today's world. So, The Hunger Games is definitely in the Marley reading list. Now, we're officially at the podium. In number three, I have to talk about Babel by R.F. Kuang. I feel like my whole chemical composition has shifted, and Babel is now my religion, and R.F. Kuang is my pope. And I'm only kidding a little bit. This book follows Robin Swift, and he's a Cantonese orphan who is raised by a mysterious guardian who focuses a lot on his education, especially when it comes to languages. And this guardian then sends Robin to study at Babel at the Royal Institute of Translation. And the story kind of goes from there and follows Robin and his classmates as they deal with their classes and with racism. It touches on colonialism and imperialism, which is in turn connected to racism, which is in turn connected to classism. It's such an important and great story, and it's so well explored. It's very well paced, and the characters are well constructed, and the plot is great, and the magic system is one of the most unique I have ever read. As someone who has English as their second language, this book was kind of a wake up call in a way for me. Obviously, I'm making this YouTube channel talking in English about mostly English books, and I feel like I've been neglecting my first language, Portuguese, for years. And ever since reading this book, I'm making more of an effort to reconnect with my first language and read more in Portuguese and sort of force myself to be exposed to Portuguese and not only English because I feel like there's an ideology of English supremacy going around. It's such a great, important read. So if you haven't read it, I highly, highly recommend. There's criticisms saying this is too kind of scholarly and there's footnotes, but you can follow the story very easily. It's not that daunting. Trust, please read it. It is in the podium. It is my whole personality. Okay? Read it. Now, at number two, I think this is the most truly peeking to my soul on this list, and that is Happy Place by Emily Henry. A lot of people consider this Emily Henry's weakest book. Not for me. Okay, this is the best Emily Henry book, and those who get it. Those who don't, I don't know what to tell you. This is a masterpiece. You know those books where you read a sentence or a paragraph and you're like, oh, I've felt this way my whole life and I've never been able to actually put it into words. And this author, this writer that I don't know, I've never met, and they never met me, was able to put it into words. Finally, this is it for me. When I read this for the first time, I felt so seen. I truly, truly related to Harriet most of all, and this had to be in the podium, number two, because it is truly a peek into my soul. So Happy Place follows Harriet and Win, and they had been dating for 8 years, I want to say, and had been engaged, but they have now been broken up for 5 months. And because they were together for so long, they share a friend group, but they have not told their friend group that they have broken up. So when that friend group goes to their yearly vacation home to celebrate one of the friends' engagements, they decide to fake it. They decide to pretend they're still together in order to not upset the friend group and to not cause drama. This is a romance, but in true Emily Henry fashion, it is a mix of literary fiction and romance. If you want to get to know me, Happy Place is the place. And now, finally, in number one, we have the two books. It is a duology that have completely taken over my personality. In the past 8 years, I want to say, I first read them in 2018, and they have not moved from number one since. So, yeah, I don't think they'll be moving anytime soon. So, that is the Six of Crows duology by Lee Bardugo. When I think of myself, I think of these two books. They are a big part of me and my personality. This is what I really appreciate in fantasy and especially in character driven fantasy. As you can probably tell, I have tapped a whole lot of these books and made my silly little annotations. I did not make them during my first read, which I do regret, but I did them nonetheless in my like fourth read maybe. So yeah, they are very, very important to me. So Six of Crows follows Casbreaker as he's charged with leading a very dangerous, very high stakes heist, and he must find five other people willing to do this heist with him. I think it's better if you go in blind, so I won't say anything else. The writing is amazing, the world building is amazing. The characters are truly the selling point in this. This is found family at its best. I just love it so much. I every time I think about any of these characters, I almost tear up because I love them so much and their stories and what they overcome, the friendships they form, the romances they form. All these characters are a part of me. I made sure my sixth tattoo was Six of Crows related, so I am a bit obsessed with this story. I'm not gonna lie. This duology is the closest I've ever been to actually begging someone to read them. At the end of last year, it got finally translated to Portuguese, and my mom has already read it. My cousin has already read it. My friends are in the process of reading it. I need everyone in my life to read this story. I'm gonna love this story till the day I die, even if a new favorite comes along and steals first place. This will always be a part of my life story in a way, in a cheesy way. Please read this one, these two actually. Please read them. I don't think you'll regret them, but I don't know your tastes. You know mine now, but yeah, this first place could not go to any other book. Yeah. So yeah, this was me bearing my soul to you in a way. If you've read most of these books, if you've loved most of these books, then that means we probably have similar reading tastes. So you should stick around. Consider liking this video and consider subscribing. As you can probably tell, this channel will be mostly focused on books. I do have other hobbies, including writing, so maybe in the future that will be part of my content as well, but mostly books and reading for now. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll hope you'll stick around. I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Can we get a moment for my shirt? I thought it would be nice to start a YouTube channel with this. Also, my earring, the chicken. Well, legal reasons, I'm not trying to steal gold.